in many leadership positions throughout her career, from team leader through command sergeant major, stationed in positions throughout her career, from team leader through command sergeant major, stationed in various locations across the United States and many overseas locations: Germany, Haiti, Norway, Iraq, Qatar, and Afghanistan. After over 23 years of service, Mural's adventures led her back to her beginning at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, where she currently serves as the adju- adju- adjutant ad, general, AG, pro, prop, prominent sergeant major for the AG school at the Soldiers Support Institute. A few of Mural's military and civilian education includes Sergeant's Major Academy Class 66 Airborne School, Drill Sergeant School, Jump Master School, Human Resources Plans and Operations course, and a Bachelor of Professional Studies Business and Management awarded for Excelsior College. Embracing her Army adventure and holding her hand along the way is her husband, Drew, from Naples, Florida. Together, they have five resilient sons who endure the ride and see the sights along the way. Throughout her years in service, she has evolved from Private Arroyo to Drill Sergeant Behen Hale to First Sergeant Arroyo to Command Sergeant Major McDonald. She does not allow her rank, last name, or position to define who she is or what she believes in. Mural is a soldier, a mother, a wife, a sister, a mentor, a friend, a leader. Her core purpose is to choose to create environments that promote opportunities for positive reflection, changes, and growth. Thank you, Sergeant Major McDonald. It is a pleasure to have you here today. And I heard you speak at the AAPI celebration uh, on base, and I was mesmerized with your story and how everything began for your family here in the United States. And it is an honor to have you here in this global podcast, LLF, Leading Fantastic Five. I would like for you to tell us a little bit more about your story. Tell us what makes you, Sergeant Major McDonald.
Yeah, so good morning and thank you once again for affording me this opportunity to come here. Any opportunity I have, especially on a Saturday or Friday where I don't have to wear my uniform. It is Memorial Day weekend, so it's a very special weekend for us, and that have served or whatever the case may be. But a little bit about my story. I joined in 1998. I went to a alternative high school in Daly City, California. And I really didn't like, I was in some honors classes growing up. At the end of the day, I did not like classes that didn't, interest me. So I went to a wilderness program where, I was taught hands-on education. And through that program, I thought I could go to San Francisco State, but instead I saw and I used to teach rock climbing for the YMCA. I saw an ad in the paper and it said, rock climb on the weekends and get paid. I said, yes, that's what I want to do. And it turned out it was an advertisement, to join the Army. And there I was 2 weeks later joining the Army. One of the second time I was on a flight, and then that started my career. Initially, I planned on just staying for 4 years, just getting my experience and then going back to the city. Then here I am almost 24 years later, continuing to serve. And I really enjoy what I do. I've always had the sense to go travel. I didn't travel much in the United States. When I was in growing up in San Francisco, we had a very big family. My family, we were poor, and my parents worked really hard to get us to where we were, and whatever we had with six of us children. I'm number four out of six, and so the military was my way out of the city. I thought there was more of the big city of San Francisco than just San Francisco. I didn't realize how big San Francisco and popular San Francisco was until I joined the service, and everyone's like, oh, Golden Gate Bridge, Alcatraz. And I'm like, I see those every day, but I never really went on them. So one of my first opportunities I had to take leave or vacation back home, I went to do all those sites. So yes.
Wow. Okay. So so one of the things that with your brothers and sisters, did they follow your path as well after like are there any of them serving in the military or doing other things?
Yes, actually, my youngest sister, the youngest out of the six, she joined the service. She's military intelligent. I was able to give her a lot of advice about what to serve in after going through what I went through. So I was already probably about maybe under 10 years of service. And when I first joined, they gave me three choices. They said you could be a a truck driver, a secretary, or a sock mender. I asked to be a truck driver, but being from San Francisco, I didn't have a license because we didn't, public transportation. So they took that out. I didn't want to be a sock mender. So secretary in the Army, what they said at that time is human resources, which I am now. So I was able to give that advice to my sister, and she became military intelligence. And she did about under 10 years, and now she's still serving, but as a contractor and getting paid a lot more than I am in another country. So she's doing well. And one of my cousins joined, but they joined the reserves, and they're no longer active.
Oh, okay. But how do you feel that you had an impact on them? What do you think impacted them to join as well after seeing you?
I think I've being in that wilderness program in high school, I learned a lot. Just backpacking. All I really knew was the city, so I give a lot of honor and thanks to my teacher in that program, that wilderness program. And I still keep in touch with my teacher, Reno Taini. And I thought that since we didn't have much growing up, and we loved outside, it was just showing that you could leave. There's more to just the city, and there's more, and you could do it all with your legs. You could walk around, you could hike, um, and there's opportunities out there. You just have to seek and ask. And even if they tell you no, because I got turned down a lot of times, and, requesting to go a lot of programs. I spent a majority of my time growing up in libraries, because it was free. And so doing a lot of research, I found like, hey, there's places out there, and I would ask, and I would get one, two yeses, and that's all I really needed to get my foot in the door. So I think it influenced them a lot. That first of all, being from another country or our family, and then also too being a woman, and then also too, like, I made it to the highest rank in the Army as enlisted. So they're always like, oh, I want to be like you. I'm like, no, you could be better than me. You don't have to be enlisted. There's other things that you could do and strive for and make your own story. So
Oh, how difficult was it to get to the high rank that you're in right now? Can you tell us a little bit about that story?
oh yes, I mean, it is very difficult. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I could say, and I'm going to be retiring actually in the next 6 months. And I would say, this is it. When I joined in 1998, it was a lot different than it is now. And I would say that it it still didn't accept the fact that women in leadership positions. And we just, as you know, or some people know, that we've allowed women into combat arms, which is infantry and ranger school. So we broke a lot of strides. But when me growing up, there was a lot of things that I was turned down to because I was a woman. So what kept me going is that, like I said, I got a lot of no's, but I got yeses. So I would try to find ways, tactfully, and not trying to push anyone else down. I love competition, but I don't like to. I believe in a healthy competition. So I was very competitive with my with what I did in the service. I'd go for competition boards. I jumped out of airplanes. I served. I would be the first one to volunteer. And I did this all through by having, with having a family as well. At the end of the day, they're the ones that suffered, because they always say, oh, there's balance, but to me, I don't believe there's balance in my profession, because I gave, majority, I'd say 90% to the Army and 10% to my family, thinking I'm doing something for my family at the end, which I am, but it took the cost was my presence in their life.
Okay. And how do you feel they see that? Do they realize? Because I mean, what I noticed, your son looked very proud of you speaking over there. So can you tell us a little bit about how that the end results have affected them positively? Do you see that?
Oh yes, I mean, I have very. That's why in my bio I put they're resilient. I have a total of five boys. This is my second marriage. We're a blended family, so I only birthed three of the five. And my two older sons, which are 21 and 19, they did not have my presence. And here it is, my 5-year-old who was there as well. I mean, he's getting a lot more of my presence, and my kids understand that I'm a different person from who I was, when they were growing up to who I am now, and what what I choose to, put my time and energy in now. And not because they weren't worth it. At the end of the day, I was so focused and competitive because I thought I was doing, I'm going to provide them a college education. I'm going to have a retirement, after 20 years of service. And so they're very proud of me. And I've had those conversations like, I apologize, yeah, actually 2 days ago, my youngest had a graduation for pre-K. And I was like, that was the first one I got to go to. And it was a very, like a realization point, like, wow. And one of my sons went with me as well. And I apologized to him. I said, I wasn't there for you. He's like, Mom, we didn't even do this at pre-K. I was like, okay, yeah, times are changing. But at the end of the day, I wasn't present for their, certain like big events that they would think is big events. Maybe people don't think those are big events, a football game or, being there to open the door when their date comes in for a dance. Those are significant events that I was not there for, but I had a very supportive ex-husband who's one of my best friends now. That's a whole nother story. But at the end of the day, like we all get along and like I said, choose to create environments and promote opportunities of positive reflection, regardless of what your situation is. There's a way to change that environment, but it has to start like with you believing in how you could do that and taking a couple of no's and turning them into yeses. So,
Okay.
that's what I kind of been living off of since I've,
So
realized that.
thank you very much. Tell me a little bit more about taking those no's into yeses, because I have known people that give up. They when someone tells them no, it's the end of the world and that's it, or they take it personal, and it becomes an animosity between people. I mean, it sounds I would love for you to express a little bit more about this, because the only way that we become successful, in my opinion, is through failure and through all the doors that close in, on your face. So can you please tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, I could definitely relate it to my first experiences in the Army. I joined in the Army, like I said, 1998. And one of the things that they like to do a lot of advertisement and motivational stuff for you to join other things. For example, airborne. So in 1998, when I was in training, I saw this paratrooper with this nice maroon beret, and he gave this great, phenomenal motivational about joining and becoming airborne. And being airborne is a very like elite group. You jump out of airplanes, you jump into combat type of stuff. So I was like, I want to do that. And so when I was in training, my first couple 6 months, I was slated to go, but then for some reason they met their goal until so that was 1988 until 2004. And I would ask every duty station I went to, can I go? I was running with male soldiers that ran 13 minutes, and at that time I'm just trying to keep up with them. So I even though it took till 2004, and all those times they said no or they sent someone else before me, because when you go into your regular duty stations after training, the opportunity becomes a lot more slimmer. And so I won like different levels of boards. I would compete, and somebody asked me what I wanted to do, and I said I want to go to airborne school. And they sent me. They took a risk, and I told them why I want to do it. How it has always been something I want to do because of that motivational speaker from that day, like one of the first couple of weeks that I joined the service. And so I went. I went to the school, and we started off with like 60 females, and only 4 of us graduated. And so and it was tough. And at the point now, after I was a drill sergeant, I went to 82nd Airborne, and I was like one of the only females that were jump masters. That jump masters are the one that pushes them out, like leads them out to jump out of the aircraft. And that was another tough experience. But like I said, at the end of the day, it's like even though I was told multiple times, no, 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 I just kept them on my. And I even have my original book from 1998 where I wrote my goals in the Army, and I've achieved all of them. So I think it goes down to writing what your goals are and sticking to it. And it's going to change because your environment changes, your taste in things changes. But at the end of the day, I knew that's what I wanted to do, and I did it. So
And when people tell you no, do you take it personal, or does it just make you want to do more and do better?
I would say both, because it's hard to say I don't take it personal, because I think why would they tell me no and not another person? And then I kind of look at like what did that other person have that I didn't, because it's a way for me to get that to a yes, right? So, but I do take it personal. Sometimes I don't. I mean, sometimes it's harder to take than other times. Um, and what was the other question? I'm sorry. The
No, and how do you take what was said to you to make it into a positive or make it through? You know how some people take the no, even though you take it personal, or even if you don't, but you grab like you kind of looking at the differentiators and you grab that differentiator and create something great out of it. So how do you do that, or what do you do about it?
Well, I play chess as well. I learned how to play chess when I was
Oh,
younger.
okay.
So I was always into strategy. How do I get two steps ahead? There may be a no, those two other steps before I get there, but how could I keep on it trying to achieve that? So what I would do is like I said, I keep it still in my goal. Like I want to go airborne school, and me competing in those boards, me showing who I was by volunteering for stuff, by all the things that people want to say no to, like, hey, who wants to take out the trash? I will. Put my hand up. Hello.
Okay. So I have another question. What do you do? How do you think you have been an impact, or how have you impacted the Filipino community that surround you and other communities?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I have like a little freeze on my camera, but I would say, like throughout my career, I've had a lot of lower ranking people or even same rank as me or higher, just say like, wow, um, you've made it this far, what did you do? How did you get there? And I tell them, pieces of my story that relates to them, and I could, try to find a way where I could connect with them. And one of my deployments in Haiti, I actually met soldiers from the Filipino army that was part of the United Nations, and I got to spend time with them and realize, like, hey, at the end of the day, we all love music, we all love to have a good time, but when it's time to work, it's time to work. And so just finding those connections with people, and I think just for me, when it was rarely people of my ethnicity that I would see, giving speeches or whatever the case be. So when I did, it was, it captured my attention. So any opportunity I have to speak, I speak. And then any opportunity I have to influence and motivate someone to do better, I take advantage of it.
Okay, great. So another thing, what are you planning on doing after retirement?
That's the big question. It's like, what am I going to do when I grow up, right? So I want to be. I'm going to be a mother. Foremost, I have the opportunity. I have we have our 5-year-old son. Is to focus more on my family, and also too, I don't really want to work for anybody else. I mean, there'll probably be a time I will, but I think at the end of the day, I want to identify who I am outside of the uniform, and I think it's going to be a very interesting, realization and discovery. So I look forward to doing not necessarily nothing, but just deflating.
Thank you. What is a message that you can leave uh, the global community with, everyone? Something that's coming from Sergeant Major McDonald.
I would leave the message that that even though, like you stated earlier, even though doors close, they're only closed temporarily. Everything, from duty stations or where you're at right now, it's a time being. And if you have the resilience and that positive, way of thinking to go past that moment, it's going to get better. And that's what I would leave you with. It's going, as believe me, I think now that after 24 years, it's going to get a lot better than it already has been for me.
Thank you very much, Sergeant Major McDonald. It was a pleasure having you with us. And again, thank you for being fantastic and leading. And I hope you continue leading your family and everyone else around you. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Again, this is Vanessa Mota with Leading Fantastic Five, president of the International Chamber of Entrepreneurs. And this month is very special because we are celebrating Asian American Pacific Islander Day or month. It's the entire month and it's almost coming to an end. But it doesn't mean that we need to stop celebrating our Asian family. We can continue celebrating them even beyond this. So again, it is a pleasure, and this was Sergeant Major McDonald, and it was a pleasure speaking with her and having her with us. Next, we have um, uh, we we have okay, Om Amy Wong, born in Thailand. She studies as high school. She studied at high school exchange student in Vienna, Austria, for 1 year, and came to the U.S. to finish senior year of high school at Dreher High School. Completed undergraduate and graduate degree from USC in hotel restaurant tourism management. While attending school, she was working at her parents' Thai restaurant in Colombia. And after graduate, she started working with then fiance John Papa's now husband in 2007 in his real estate office as property manager and real estate agent. She bought her first house in 2004 as a first time home buyer. She does not do anything, and no one guided her. She just started all this on her own. So when she got into real estate, she was focusing and helping first time home buyers, especially immigrant like herself, find a good home. She helps from the beginning until the home is sold. She continues helping with other aspects such as real estate investment and how to care for their homes. And she often helps with consulting in their business since she has experience owning restaurants and bars. So she used to be a restaurant and bar owner. So she does these things. Again, Om is from Thailand, and she is happily married here, and she's been helping the immigrant community with their homes, which is part of the American dream. Om, can you tell us a little bit about your story, how you came here, how you came about, just doing things and how you're doing things for others?
Well, thank you for inviting me to speak today, and I'm really glad to be here. Well, my story started, when I was young, came to America, just like everybody else, I guess. Everybody have their own stories. We came here with my dad, my mom. I was blessed because a lot of people came here by themselves, and I'm sure there's a lot of stories about that. But I was glad that I came with my parents. They were my inspirations, and they're just like every parents. They want everything for their kids. The reason they brought me over because my mom got scholarship to study at USC for her PhD program, so she wanted to give an opportunity for her only daughters. So I came here, and the first thing we do is we rent an apartment. Of course, it's a 1-bedroom apartment with 3 of us in there, and you can imagine how tight it is. I remember first couple months, we have to rely on the funding from the government, Thai government, of course, and 1 pack of noodles. We have 1 egg, and we bought some cabbage, and we just chopped them up and just put in there, and me and mom would split it. And that was a tough time for us. But then, when I was able to get a job, able to go to school. Of course, going to school here as international students is very expensive. So I was able to get a scholarship. So working full times, also go to school full times, and trying to get a scholarship, maintain your average grades. So it was very difficult time. But you know what? When we look back, I believe that at that time it was one of the happiest time because me and my family was as tight as can be. We would help each other and we would encourage each other. My mom studied herself, and I have to go to study. So we split the computer usage. Sometimes I have to go to the library, and sometimes she's used the computer at home. So it's give me a strength, and I know that anytime I come to some difficulty, we can pass it. And yeah. So getting into real estate, my parents, like a lot of immigrants, start business with having a restaurant. So I was working in a restaurant since I was in late high school, college, and it's a lot of work. And I figured out that is not for me. Not only that's not a lot of work, it's just that you don't have time for your family. You work all the time. Pretty much you work 7 days a week, and we miss a lot of family time together. Like if we want to go on vacation, we have to close the restaurant because nobody's going to be working.
Yeah.
So when I met my fiance at that time, and he was doing real estate with his company, so he said, "Hey, come over and help." And I said, "Okay, I have some background in business, and all my classes at USC has been doing a lot of accounting, business, maybe not real estate, but most of the business classes we take, have some kind of business sense in there." So I started working over there, and I do property management as well as the real estate agent, sales, buy, invest, doing everything you can think of in real estate, commercial, residentials. And
Yeah.
over the year, with the experience that I have purchasing my first home in 2004, have no clue what I'm doing, and I did a lot of mistakes. I think it's best to kind of forward my experience to other people. So when I help people buying a house, I can tell them, "Hey, I've been there, done that. Why don't we do it this way? Don't um, don't repeat my mistake." So I've been helping people purchasing a home, and a lot of time, most of my clients, we have a lot of immigrants, just like myself. I'm really passionate about it, and I really want everybody to fulfill their American dreams, which is having own a home. And that's one of my my passions, and one of the things I want everybody's to have. And when a person own a home, you can see the difference. They work harder, they have more pride, and they just better off everywhere. It's something that it's give people pride and joy and something to work with, and it's like a
So
reward.
So one of the things is what have you seen that so did you ever see any injustice done to homeowners before you started helping, like were people taking advantage of immigrants following the American dream of owning their home? And if so, what was one of the injustices that you saw the most that really penetrated in your head, like wow, that's really, it's really bad.
Well, it doesn't have to be just the immigrant. I mean, anybody can be taken advantage of if they're trying to purchase a home and they don't know most of the basics. You can start from getting a loan. They don't know that they can get a better rate, or they don't know how to compare the rate. The mortgage insurance, if you don't put down more than 20%, 20% or more, you still have to pay a mortgage insurance. And some company charge a lot of money for mortgage insurance, different loan type. It's came from the ignorance more than they trying to cheat you out of the loan or anything, more than anything. So a person who want to purchase a home and get a loan, I think the best thing to do is learn a little bit about loan qualifications and what type of loans you need. I usually kind of coach my clients with it. Okay, I think, from your situation, this is the best loan for you. This is the reason why. And you have
So
to
you
explain to
do a
them.
lot of, so you educate people about it. You don't just offer this stuff. What do
Exactly.
you think is the importance on education, like educating people instead of just saying, "Oh, let me tell you, this is the best for you."
Yes. Because a lot of time when people buy a home, they don't think about anything else. But when they start moving in there and living there, they realize, okay, why didn't I know about this before? Why didn't I know about that before? So what we usually do is I usually joined hand with a lot of loan companies, and we doing a home buyers class. And I also work sometimes with the Richland County. They have a lot of good programs for first-time home buyers and down payment assistance, but there are also a lot of stipulations that you have to go through. So we educate a lot of clients on that, how to purchase a home, and not only just to purchase a home. Once you bought a home, you need to know how to maintain the home. You need to know what you have. You need to know, okay, you know, how to maintain your AC. A lot of people that has been a tenant renting the house, every time something broke, they just call the landlord. But when you own a home, you don't have a landlord to call anymore. So you
Yeah.
have to learn how to, you know, safely manage your home, also maintain it. So a lot of time, you know, I would, you know, try to get them to go to some of the free classes that they have at the city or the county that about maintaining homes, and it's free. There's a lot of online educations that you can go through. Lowe's have class all the times, and as well as Home Depot, and those are important because people need to know about their house, and they need to know how to maintain the homes because that's their asset.
So what's the hardest part? Buying the house, managing it, or maintaining it?
I believe it's everything. That's the
All of
hardest,
it.
all of it.
So
And
you have to kind of know the whole package.
usually, you know, usually after the clients purchasing the home, finish purchasing the home, I still got a phone call sometime. Hey, I have to, why is my tax went up? You know, why is my insurance went up? Help me. So I have to, you know, help them and look at its situation and try to, okay, let's figure out why. Okay, send me the statement. Okay, I see it. Okay, this is the reason why. You forgot to go to the county and change your resident to tax to residentials for the property tax. That's why your property tax went up.
So
You know,
that's good that you can guide them. So going back to your story on how you came here and the tough time that you came, what do you think out of um, that phase in your life has made the Amy that you are now? What is the
well,
part that really imprinted in your life?
the part that imprinted my life is that first I believe in educations. Educations is everything. If you understand that how things work, it make it easy for you. Language. When I first came here, it's very difficult. I got an F in biologies, and I'm pretty good at biologies, but I got an F because I speak mostly German, 100% Thai, and very little English. So at that time, I have to study double hard and learn how to speak and try to understand what are they saying because this, as you can tell, the Southern accent is very strong around here. And
Yeah.
sometimes I barely understand what people say. So those English is very important. So when we came here, we gotta understand, and also the cultures. When you come to America, not only you have to understand the language, you have to understand the culture. You have to blend in. You have to live in this country. So you have to get along. How to get along? You not only get along with your families, which sometimes we fight, of course, you know, with families, because a different age with my parents, they want me to do something, but I grew up here and I want to do some different things. So then we have to learn how to get along with other people, not only the American people that lived here, you know, we also have to get along with other communities here. I'm very close with community with the Burmese, a lot of Laos community and Thai communities here. So most of my clients is gonna be from mostly immigrant from those country, and you just have to learn their cultures, and so that we can help them better. So I can educate them better what they're looking for. So if you understand their cultures, then you all can understand, okay, well, you have the culture. This is your culture. You cook some food. And I know our ethnic food sometimes can be really strong or really pungent. We use a lot of chilies, we use a lot of fermented fish or beans. So we are trying to, when I help them find a home, I have to make sure that it's going to be in the area that they will be comfortable with. The neighborhood, um, I have to explain to them what the homeowner association is and why there are certain houses that if they move in there, they might not be the most comfortable because the neighbor might not understand or they cannot accept it that they have to cook outside with the smaller chilies or something like that. And
Yeah, no,
yeah,
it is true, and I've seen it also in the Latino community. But thank you very much, I would love for you to leave us with. Thank you so much for all this insight and for being a fantastic leader in your community, in the communities. I would love for you to leave us with um, a message from Amy from globally for the communities globally. So if you could leave us with that, I would really appreciate it. Thank you.
yes, what I would like to leave it for today is pay it forward. Help your community, help people around you. When I came here, um, I all the furnitures, cups, pots, pans, kitchen appliances. I was It was donated by a lot of people that actually came here before us, and they have some items. So I said, pay it forward. You know, help others when you can, especially people in your communities, especially newcomers. Me and my dad's doing the. We have a little gift basket when we have a new people or students, international students that come in, and we have a little basket for them that simple stuff: knife, cups, spoons, pans, pot, glasses. You will be surprised that when you came with two luggage and you don't have anything else to start your life with, you need that little package. And we
Yeah.
also love to help out because we have a lot of students that leave the community, go back to the country, so they would have their other stuff left over. So we keep those stuff for the new next students that come in. So that was something that we can do a little bit for our community as well.
Thank you very much, I really appreciate everything. And again, thank you for being here with us. Okay. Really
All right.
appreciate you. Thank you.
Oh, good day.
Okay. Again, this is Amy Wong from Thailand, and we're very appreciative that she was here with us. This is Vanessa Mota, the president for the United States for International Chamber of Entrepreneurs, and it's been a pleasure so far. Next, we have Pele Hunken. So far we've had Philippines, Thailand, and now we have Samoa. Fa'apepele Hunkin is from the beautiful island of Samoa, and she goes by Pele for short, which means sweetheart. She's true to her name. Pele is a vessel of love and positivity who believes in having an attitude of gratitude in all circumstances. She works tirelessly to inspire and empower other women to believe they too can be vessels of love and positivity while fulfilling their God given purpose. Pele is a proud Samoan who is a dynamic speaker, international best selling author, four times co author and founder of Pele Inspire Embracing Authentic Love, a widow and devoted mother of four loving children, Nicole, Dean Jr., Victoria, and Isabella. So, how are you doing today?
Hi, how are you, Vanessa? I'm
Good.
doing great. Thank you.
Okay, so if you don't mind telling us a little bit about you, your story of how you became, who you are now and what you're doing at this moment.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you. Well, I always first and foremost, I always want to give God all the honor, praise, and glory. And the reason why I always do that is because if it wasn't for, if it weren't for his love, mercy, and grace, I would have never made it this far in life. And so, yeah, and I'm grateful to you for this opportunity for me to share my story and to be a blessing to other people. And it's an honor, for me. I'm humbled, and I'm always truly blessed to have this opportunity to share with the world, how God transformed my life and everything. So I'm just grateful.
Okay, we know that you're very busy in Vegas, so we'll keep it short. So just tell us, how did you get to who you are now, to this? How did Pele Inspire become about?
Oh wow. Well, ooh, Lord, let me go back, right? Sorry, that was my nephew that came in. So we are in Arizona right now, and I just want to share this a proud moment for me. And I haven't seen my brother and his family since we laid my mom to rest, and just seeing my niece walk the stage, And yesterday I see my nephew, and I'm just grateful. I'm just overwhelmed with joy right now. So, how did I get to where I am today? And I can honestly say that I am grateful to the person I was yesterday, because she introduced me to the person I am today. And who is the person I am today? And as you said, I am a vessel of love and positivity. And I just love, I have that heart to serve. And I'm sure you know about that too. I love serving people, and I encourage people to have that heart of a leader, to have that heart to serve, and to have that heart to love unconditionally, and to the point where your love has no boundaries, because that's just me. That's how I was raised. And so I'm just grateful that I am who I am today, because one, I owe it all to my parents and my grandparents. I owe them my faith, I owe them my life, and I owe them this breathtaking journey I'm on. And when I'm talking about this breathtaking journey I'm on, it's because when I my journey is a journey of losses. I lost my children. I lost my children's father 15 years ago. I lost my parents, and then I got remarried 10 years after Dean passed, and I went through a divorce. And I at the same time, I almost lost my son due to a brain bleeding and brain swelling. But guess what? How did I get to where I am today? Honestly, it took my divorce for me to get to where I am today. I didn't look at it in a negative way. I look at it as a true blessing to my life, because I believe that when life throws us a curveball, it's not how we respond to what life is throwing at us. That's not how I took it. I It was how I handled it. And I've learned to embrace all that life, took me through, all the challenges, all the trials and tribulations, all the situations that God has brought me through, that life was throwing at me. I've learned to embrace all those moments, and all that molded me to who I am today. And I encourage everyone to be grateful for all the pain that you go through in life, to be grateful for all those trials and tribulations. And like I said, I handled my situation gracefully. And I said to myself, hey, your divorce didn't kill you, and you have to know your why. Because my why was so strong and so big, and my why in life are my children. And so it was so strong and so big that pushed me to where I am today. To be, who's to say that I was going to be an author, a speaker, a life coach, and all that round person. But like I said, all them accolades, it don't matter to me, because that doesn't define who I really am. I am a vessel of love and positivity. And so that's what happened, is because I embraced all that I was going through. And then I said, you know what? I was asked, why did I start writing? I was told I have a book to birth my book out, but I decided to write, to tell my story, because I wanted to share God's glory. And I encourage everyone and anyone who is listening right now, to birth that book out. We all have a story. And I want you, you are a speaker, you are an author, you have a voice, just use it. And when I say, I live how I'm living my life now, I live full and die empty, meaning I'm using everything that God has blessed me with, my love, my knowledge, the talents, the gifts. I'm pouring it out to everyone. And I'm not talking about just someone. I'm pouring it out to everyone that God, placed in my path. And I encourage them to, hey, this is your time, be a blessing to someone. This is your time. Don't go to your grave, with all those gifts, with all that knowledge and everything else. So now is the time for me, to live full and die empty, and just to be a blessing to the world. And that's
Sis.
what I love to do. I love
So
who I am,
what
right
I am
now.
understanding is that that all these trials and tribulations in your life have taught you to be very adaptable. How can you share
Yeah.
adaptability to others so that they can also be as adaptable as you are after trials and tribulations and changes? Because I know that one part of being a great leader is being adaptable to change. So, how can you share this adaptability with others? If things happen, how to adapt, how to be part of the resilience instead of being against it. Can you tell us a little bit more about
Uh,
that?
oh yeah. And it all starts with the mindset, right? So we go through all this in life, and so you have to have that mindset of a champion. You have to have that mindset of a warrior, to say, hey, you know yeah, life knocked me down, but I am not going to stay down. You know what I mean? But like for me, the very first step that I really want to share with everyone is different, but I want to share with everyone what worked for me, is that I allow God to be the foundation of my life in all, and I mean in all and everything I do. He's the center of my life. He's the center of my family, with my children. And when you have that, you know, in your life, because it's just, that's just my advice to people. When you really want to be connected, when you really want to be that leader and to be that follower, you have to, you know connect with, the main source. And so, to adapt, like I said, you have to have a positive mindset, because you can't adapt to any changes in life, with negativity. And when you have negative thoughts and, being around negative people, there is no way for you to be connected to, I mean, to be adapted to what you are trying and where you're trying to go. So I just encourage everyone to, hey, one, allow God to be the foundation of your life. Two, have a positive mindset. Have a champion mindset. Have a mindset of a warrior, to know that no matter what life throws at you, let me tell you something. You have the courage and you have the power to overcome anything that life throws at you. And the reason why I say that is because God bless you with life, because He knows that you are strong, to live in it. So, yeah.
How do you feel when you know that what the way you inspire people is making them changes or motivating them to do better? Because, as Pele Inspire, you inspire positivity through change, positivity to adaptability, positivity to, through being a resilient leader no matter what ever, whatever comes your way, you just have to push through it. So, how do you feel when you know that you're able to give that push to women to, to push them to move forward, to do better?
Oh man, it is such an amazing feeling, and it's a satisfaction feeling, knowing that I've touched somebody's life, knowing that I've made a difference. Because, like I said, my purpose statement is to inspire and empower women to know that they are enough, so they can, so they too can be vessels of love and positivity while fulfilling their God-given purpose. However, .com, my passion in life is to place a positive impact in people's lives. So whenever, I'm like, through my speeches, through my social media posts, or through, telephone, any messages or whatever, speaking, events, when someone come up to me and say, hey, I just want to tell you that you've inspired me. What you just said, you make me feel that I just want to step out of myself. And so that's why I say it's such an amazing feeling. And I just give all the glory and honor to God. I always say it's always him and never me, because whenever I'm given an opportunity, I believe that I was chosen by him, to deliver what he wants his people to know. And I'm grateful for that. And so I just encourage, whoever is listening, I encourage you to step into your greatness. When you step into your greatness, own your greatness, and step into it with confidence. Step into it with, with joy. Step into your confidence with a whole lot of love, and believe that, you got what it takes to be who you want to be. And don't ever let anyone, bring you down. You have to be strong for you, and I encourage you to fly. And I love talking about my fly, because it took my divorce for me to fly. And fly stands for first love yourself. And I said to myself, I love myself so much that I said to myself, I'm gonna be the change, that I want to see in life. Not what anyone wants to see, what Pele wants to see in her life. And so I encourage you, to be that change you want to see in your life. Not what your mama want to see, not what your hubby want to see. No, what you want to see in your life. And you know what? I just fly on. Love yourself enough to be that person who has the heart to serve anyone. It doesn't matter what race they are, or anything. Serve, because God being, good to
So
us. Love yourself enough to never give up on you.
So we like that you're always true to yourself. You are who you are in your speeches and
Yeah.
everywhere. You're always full of positivity, and we would like for you to leave this global community. I know that you have a graduation and you have to go, so we're keeping it short. We would love for
Thank
you
you.
to leave us with a global statement, message coming from Pele Inspire. Please tell the communities. And thank you very much
Oh,
for being on, even through your travels and everything. We really appreciate you.
yeah. So while globally, I want to say this, the beauty of diversity is very important to each and every one of us. And we all need, you know, see, you're trying to get me emotional with that. We all need to embrace that, because I think diversity is very beautiful in every way, when everyone, come together as one, and so I just want everyone to, hey, life is too short. And I just encourage everyone, for all of us, let's be kind to one another, and speak to each other, like lovingly, and not being mean. And the reason why I say that is because if I were to die tomorrow, if you were to die tomorrow, you know, I would want for you to remember the last thing that we've said to each other. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I always say it's not what we say that matters. It's how we make each other feel, that will always stay in the heart, and that will always stay in the mind. And when that happens, it's have to, keep it going, through generations after generations. And like I said, just love unconditionally, because God loves us unconditionally. That is my thing. Like I said,
Thank
I'm
you
a
very
vessel of
much.
love. And so,
Thank you.
yeah,
I
that's
really
it.
appreciate you. And I hope you have a beautiful vacation, and hope to see you soon. Okay. Thank you
All right.
very
I love
much.
you guys.
All
Grateful
right.
for y'all.
Love you. Thank
All right.
you.
Bye.
Okay.
All
Bye.
right.
Again, we are celebrating Asian American Pacific Islander Month, and that was Pele Samoa, and with Pele Inspire. Now we have our gentleman, Dr. Kevin Liu, and he is representing China with AAPI. Dr. Kevin Liu is an extraordinary man that has a background that we probably needed a whole podcast to go over, but I did take a few things just to go over. He is an associate professor of in 2017, associate professor of pharmacoeconomics and outcome science of University of South Carolina College of Pharmacy. 2022 adjunct associate instructional professor, University of Florida College of Pharmacy. 2011 assistant professor of pharmacy administration at USC College of Pharmacy. 2005 to 2011 PhD in pharmacoeconomics, University of Maryland College of Pharmacy. At this moment, Dr. Liu is a professor at USC, correct?
That's right.
Okay. And aside from that, he has done so many great things. He has gotten leadership and awards, to mention some: Fellow International Society of Pharmacoepidemiology, Chair Economic, Social, and Administrative Science Section of American Pharmacists Association, USC Dean's Excellence Award for Research, approved by the USC Board of Trustees, USC Dean's Excellence Award for Service, established and approved by the USC Board of Trustees, board member, NIH Resource Centers for Minority Aging Research Scientist Advisory Board, Chair, Drug Policy and Pharmacy Practice Committee, American Public Health Association, Chair, International Society of Pharma Epidemiology Academic Council. So he has done all these great things that we could go on, and he has always been mentioned by the Chinese Association, and I have heard his name mentioned through the USC community as well. So we are very honored to have you here, Dr. Liu. I would like for you, I know that you are also very involved with the Chinese Association. So you do a lot for the Chinese community, but you also do a lot for other communities. Can you tell us a little bit about your story, how you came here, how, you know, how you this leader got created, and teaching, serving, all these things that you do for the communities?
Sure. So basically, I got my bachelor's degree in China from Peking University, and after that, I came to the United States. I got my PhD in pharmacoeconomics from University of Maryland. After that, I moved to South Carolina to join the University of South Carolina as an assistant professor. At that time, that was when I got involved in the Chinese Association, and I served first as the vice president and then served as the president of the Chinese Association for 2 years. I also served as the vice chair of the board of directors at the East Point Academy for 2 years. After that, so in terms of the Asian American community, right now I'm the treasurer and the board director member of the East Voyager Academy in Charlotte. So basically, I have two sides. One is doing research, teaching, and education, mentoring PhD students and PharmD students, doctor of pharmacy students, and the other side is it got involved in and provide my service to the Asian community, particularly the Chinese Americans community.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you. And what inspires you to do more for the Asian American community here in the United States? What is something that you see that is really needed and you feel you're providing?
Well, first of all, we are a minority, minority group. That's we, for example, Asians or Chinese Americans, they in Colombia or in South Carolina only account for less than 1%. So it's really a small group, and we don't have a voice represented. in a larger American community, and therefore I think probably this is something I can do, because one of the challenges is that there's language barriers obviously involved in this, and culture barriers, and because of my education, and I believe that I probably have this privilege of communicating, and then I'm more familiar with this that American culture a little bit, so that probably I can serve as the bridge, so that I can do what I can do to serve the community. So basically speaking, I see that there's a lack of collaboration and communication conversations among different racial and ethnic groups here in Columbia, South Carolina. So that inspired me first where I want to provide my service.
Okay. What are some other things that you do in the community aside from the Chinese community? What are some other ways that you help, that you feel that you lead or you help here in the US?
So basically, most of the activities I do is through this Chinese Association of Columbia, because every almost all the Chinese Americans and some of the Asian Americans, they got involved in this association. So whatever I do, I provide service. I'm in the name of this Chinese Association of Columbia. So we did a lot of things. For example, in 2020, when I was the president at that time, there was the broke of this COVID-19 in March in America. So what we did is that we collaborated with every organizations and groups of Chinese Americans, which include our association, of course, but also other associations like the Chinese Association of Church, the East Point Academy, the and also other like South Carolina Dance and Drum Group. So altogether there were about 7 or 8 associations. So we organized everybody together so that we can either donate money, or donate the use their ways, because we have healthcare providers in our group as well, like physicians, nurses, myself as a pharmacist. So we all together worked and helped to collect about probably $20,000 or $30,000. In addition to that, we also collected um, you know, COVID-19 N95 masks, gowns and gears, and we donated all those medical equipment to several of the hospitals and palmetto health hospitals and facilities there. Try our best. We not only serve our Asian community, we also serve on a larger scale, so that we can foster the collaboration and understanding among all
Uh,
the.
I remember that because I was
Mhm.
following it closely. You guys also help the nursing homes.
Exactly. That's
Exactly.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys do a lot for the other communities.
Mhm.
I remember we were reached as well to see if the Latino community needed anything. So we really appreciate everything that you guys do. And this was during your presidency. So this is why we wanted to highlight you, because this is very important that, you know, that just because it's the Chinese Association, you didn't just keep it there. You were trying to help others. And this is where it's important to highlight these moments, because it shows that even through adversities, even through people having Asian crime, you guys were looking out for other ethnicities. So tell me a little bit about that. How was the situation? Because even through that, you guys were doing good for the other communities.
Yes, exactly. So I believe through this activities we gained um, tremendous support from the
Yes.
other groups,
Yeah, we would
like
post it all the
Latino,
time.
yeah,
Yeah.
groups. Exactly. So we feel that we're really on the same boat. It's just that in the past, the lack of collaboration that kind of separate us a little bit. But through this activity, I felt really we are on the same boat. We're on we are the same thinking, and so I felt very appreciated for the different racial and ethnic groups. In fact, eh, we're talking about mostly about this part, but then in talking about my research is actually focusing on health disparities, particularly racial and ethnic disparities. So basically speaking, so we can see that different people with different colors, different race and ethnicity, they would have different health outcomes. Let's say African Americans usually would have a higher prevalence of hypertension, Latinos would have a higher prevalence of dementia, etc. So this is this is something that we need to consider. And in my research, I'm trying to dive into to identify the predictors on the factors that is associated or predicts these differences. So basically, these health, racial, ethnic disparities is due to current health inequities, which is largely determined by the systemic racism that is embedded in the healthcare system. So that is
Wow.
so that is something that I do. For example, African Americans or Latinos, they usually have lower paid jobs, and therefore they do not have great health insurance, which they are deprived of uh, to have access to some of the optimal healthcare resources that they deserve. So that's exactly something that I do in my research. That's currently my area is actually focusing on health disparities and healthcare um, um, uh, systematic racism among people with dementia and with colors, mostly African Americans and Hispanics. So I do both, and you can see that these kind of work can help me foster my work with different people with different colors and um, low income population.
See, this is amazing. You are a
Mhm.
whirlpool of leading, gems. Like you have so much aside from everything that the Chinese Association does for other communities, for the of course, for the Asian community first, because
Sure.
that's what it is.
Hmm.
The stuff that you do through your research, this is amazing. And this shows that at the end, we're all one people. I mean,
Exactly.
you being a Chinese man, you're sitting here worrying about, like doing your research on African American, Hispanic, Latino, and this is why it's important to get that news out there. Dr. Lu, I would have never known if we weren't talking about it today. So this is why it's important to highlight what the communities are doing out there, what the community leaders are doing out there. This is why yesterday in the AAPI Business Day, we made sure that we are highlighting, community leaders because they go unseen.
Exactly.
And this is,
Exactly.
I'm very amazed with everything that you are doing and everything that the Chinese Association is doing. And you guys know that you will always have a platform here to tell the world, the local communities what you are doing and what you are working on. And we really, really appreciate everything that you do.
Sure.
Um,
And this not only, I think this platform is a great forum for me to promote these people's awareness of the health disparities and systematic racism because people don't know this. People,
Yes, it is perfect. I mean, really,
mhm,
and we will have more stuff going on, especially now that I know more in detail.
mhm,
We have a couple of things coming up, so we will be contacting you. I would love for you to leave us with a message coming from Dr. Lu
mhm.
to all the communities globally.
So, as mentioned before, my work is mainly focusing on racial and ethnic disparities. So, I would, through my work, my message would be that in order to reduce health disparities and systematic racism and to aim for health equity, I think collaborations among different peoples with different race, ethnic groups, communications, conversations, commitment, and education, these are very important tools for us to use to reduce these systematic racism. And I believe that working together, we as one person, one people, can achieve the goal of health equity eventually.
Thank you very much, Dr. Liu. Again, thank you. And thank you for your leadership. And thank you for everything that you do for us. Okay. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye.
Okay. Again, this is Vanessa Mota with Leading Fantastic Five, U.S. President for CAINEM, the Chamber of Entrepreneurs for the United States, for International Chamber of Entrepreneurs. And I thank my family and CAINEM for believing in me. And again, thank you to everybody who was out there listening. And I do ask for a prayer for Lori Rao. She is our director here at MECPA. And she had an accident, and we just pray that she recovers and that everything goes well. Thank you very much.